Hello there. Uh, I'm thinking that today we can, talk over the subject of lousy economics. Now, why do I say lousy economics? I call it so because this kind of economics promotes that greed is good and that we have to unleash the animal spirits. Generally, you find these in kind of talk shows, etc., where all of these experts, especially the economists, the politicians, the business folks, all of them get together and say, you know what, the economy isn't doing all that great. And I think one of the fundamental reasons is because the business folks are in greedy. Business folks are in releasing the animal spirits. Now, why would you unleash animal spirits if you are a human being? You are certainly not an animal walking on four legs or running on four legs. So it's important to continue to be human, and there is no need to unleash animal spirits. If at all you have to unleash, it has to be human spirits. And greed isn't good. Contrary to what these people are propagating or disseminating, I firmly feel that greed isn't good. These kind of sloganeering may be motivating for a very small micro percentage of folks who are at the very top of the pyramid. But then these qualities, up to a point, work for those who are in the middle or the bottom of the pyramid. But it's really the top of the pyramid that sort of shave off everything that is there. And it's very obvious that from even from statistics that you have a country or a few countries or even let's say many countries where the top 1% of the population hold about 40% of the wealth and the bottom 50% hold about 3% of the wealth. That's the kind of disparity that is there. So greed doesn't seem to be good and it doesn't seem to work for the bottom 50%. And however much they unleash the animal spirits, it really beyond a point, it doesn't really get them anywhere. So it still seems to be working for this very small number who are able to exploit the opportunities that are there, who are able to maneuver situations, whether they are political situations and economic situations, and then turn it their way because they are already not in a level playing field. They are already 50 floors above, 100 floors above. So for them, the takeoff point is much higher, and therefore they always get that edge in terms of being straight away ahead. So it's like you're running a 100-meter race, and one person is already at 90 meters, and then you're at the starting point. I mean, even if you run like a gazelle, there is no way that you are able to win it. So that's approximately, or it's is what it operates in terms of the way this the greed and the animal spirits unleashing operates. So that's why I call it lousy economics. If this is lousy economics, then what is good economics? I believe that good economics is something that does not look only at numbers. It does not look only at GDP growth, because when you peel the layers of GDP, you find that there are many stories it reveals. While it may show some growth, one finds that there is a heavy skew towards let's say towards the wealthy, and they seem to contribute to a large percent of the GDP, whereas a large population, whether it's the urban poor or the rural poor, which are in millions actually, they seem to be left behind. So this kind of a lopsided, topsy-turvy kind of a number doesn't really tell you any story about how exactly it has worked across the population, how exactly the benefits have percolated, have seeped into the first the middle and then the bottom of the pyramid. So if this is the case, then obviously one needs to call this economics lousy. Now the point here is that if one holds a contrarian view to the mainstream, then one is neglected. People are indifferent to the person who's holding this contrarian view, or they throw stones at him, either literally or figuratively speaking. So the person with the contrarian view is generally muffled, and so he mumbles to himself or herself and says, okay, so be it. What do I do? I mean, one lone man screaming at the top of my voice, and everybody else is part of the regular conventional stream. How does it really matter? But then the other way of looking at it is that it's important for that lone man to keep screaming, because if he feels genuinely that this is the way it has to be, this is the way one should go about it, and the true measure of growth and prosperity is not some is not in some number which, when you peel, reveal a lot of misnomers and anomalies about it. So therefore it is important that those who hold a view which is different from the regular or the normal, do not give in so soon. They continue to do so. Somewhere along the line, if it strikes a chord with a few more people, and if they are able to realize the truth of this whole thing, then they may also be in sync. And after all, that is how whatever changes have happened in the world across many facets of living, be it politics, be it economics, be it climate, environment, or various other let's say branches in terms of academics, etc. All of these changes have happened primarily because somebody has has put his hand up and said this is not on. Somebody has shown the red flag. Somebody has shown the red line. So therefore, it is important to keep it going. So if this is lousy economics in terms of promoting that greed is good and that it's great to unleash animal spirits, then we need to definitely turn the other way and move towards good economics. Good economics fundamentally begins from addressing deep down human qualities. After all, the expression of human qualities is what one sees in the external or the outer world. So therefore, if I'm going to be tremendously greedy, then it means that in order to be able to achieve the goal that I have set for myself, I have to be extremely over ambitious. And in the bargain, because I'm not taking my eyes off the goalpost, I may be trampling hundreds and millions. And unmindful of that, I keep going. And which means you leave a lot of, let's say, damage, you leave a lot of angst, sadness to a lot of people, because everybody need not see the way, see the world the way that you do if you are extremely greedy. So there are people who want to take it a little slow. There are people who want to take it a little easy. There are people who want some kind of normality about the way they lead their life. So each person's expectations, each person's aims and goals are very different, and therefore it is important and incumbent upon those who have this extraordinarily high drive to be mindful of those around them. Otherwise, it is not just about damaging people. It is very obvious. You open the television, you read the newspapers, you hear what people saying. There is damage done to environment, there is damage done to ecology, there is an ecological imbalance that is there. You have flora and fauna being damaged, the oceans are being damaged, the air is getting polluted. These are facts, right? I'm not making up anything. These are facts. And human beings are a contributory factor to all of this. And if the whole set of population is a contributory factor, then obviously there are a lot of followers who are aping these so-called leaders, whether they are leaders in the business world, whether they are leaders in the political world or the economic world or what have you, in any of the other branches. So therefore, it is important that the leader first ensures that he or she, walks the straight path, is an object lesson for others to follow, and does not set an incorrect example. It is with this thinking that one should approach one's life, especially if one wants to be a leader. It is not a leader in one field. It is leadership in totality. You have to be a leader as a holistic human being, and then whatever you do within that in a specialized manner, that will deliver excellent results because you're mindful of whom you are trampling on. So therefore, being conscious of that is extremely important. Therefore, what I would really like to emphasize here is that more important than the so called revenues and profits and wealth and assets and all of that, I think it's extremely important that a good example is set for the rest of the population in terms of what is true happiness. How do you live a happy life? How do you live a peaceful life? How can you have a good relationship within your family setup, with the neighborhood, with so many other stakeholders in society? I think if that is not corrected, whatever numbers are shown up in terms of GDP, etc., is really not going to get anywhere, because even if you peel the layers of GDP, you find that it has its own issues. I mean, you find that the top 1% hold for 40% of the wealth, the bottom 50% hold about 3% of the income or the wealth, and therefore it's a high skew. So when you say GDP growth as a very, some kind of a standalone statement, one tends to get carried away. But then when you sort of open it up, it's more like a Pandora's box, and then a lot of skeletons come out of the cupboard. So therefore, one needs to be mindful of all of this and not get carried away by just some numbers that you take out from economics or science textbooks, and then feels very satisfied. It's all very hunky-dory. So I think fundamentally it's important to tackle some of the deep-seated human emotions and human nature. I think unless that is corrected, it will only manifest incoherently, incongruously, and therefore you see the damage all around us. Whether it's damage to human beings or whether it's damage to the environment. And therefore, we need to have a better world for ourselves to live, and we also need to leave a better world for posterity. Therefore, there is a tremendous responsibility and onus on all of us to conduct ourselves in a way that we don't go at 1000 miles per hour in just one direction, completely indifferent to the goings on of everything else. I think it's important to be a holistic human being who takes into account all the facets that are contributory factors to happiness and peace, and move in that direction. And if some of us are able to set that example for others to follow, then that is a great job done by all of us, by some of us. Thank you so much.